There for aquifer for drinking water.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to continue with bringing two more testifiers up here in Kona, Mr. Curtis Tyler and Mrs. Virginia Isbell. And while they're coming up, I'll take the two in Ocean View who are waiting.
Hello, Madam Chairperson.
Go ahead with your testifier.
Okay, we have Michael Last, who will be testifying on Bill number 86, Draft 2, Bill number 85, and Resolution 132-13. We also have Judy Carr Robinson, who will be testifying on Bill number 86, Draft 2, and 132-13. Ms. Robinson will also be speaking on behalf of Joanna O'Donnell, who could not continue to wait, and those will be on 86 Draft 2, Resolution 132-13, and Bill number 85 as well. And here's Mike Last.
Good morning and thank you.
Good morning.
In regards to the pay increase of elected officials, I feel that it is improper to propose that at this time, judging by the hardship people have to deal with. As far as the automobile weight tax increase, I feel that it is inappropriate also to put that in right now because of the fact that the I'm sorry, I got feedback. There we go, better, thank you. The fact that we are paying at a high rate and anything additional would be quite a burden. Now, as far as the bus fare increase, I take the bus. Not a lot, I do take it. I don't see why I have to get on for free, being a senior. I have the ability to pay, and I think all services should be user-derived income. In other words, if someone can take it, they have to have the means to pay for it. Thank you.
Sir, could you please state your name for the record? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Michael L. Last.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there another testifier?
Good morning. I'm Judy Carr Robinson. I'm speaking on both Resolution 132-13 and Bill 86, version 2, I think. And the reason I'm putting these together is because it seems to me that although I'm sure they're not connected, it's almost impossible not to draw a connection between an increase in bus fares and an increase in salaries. I know there's no direct line, I understand that. But for those people who take the bus, chances are, as we've heard testified multiple times today, that an additional dollar is a hardship. We're talking about seniors, we're talking about people who don't have a car, we're talking about students, we're talking about people who need to get to work. This is a critical lifeline on this island. You either drive the road or you take the bus on the road. I think it's rather short-sighted not to understand, or at least not to admit, that having a functional bus system is a benefit to everybody. It's a benefit to the environment. It's a benefit to the actual use on the road. If these people, and I say these people, and that I include myself in that as a senior, if we are not allowed or not able to take the bus because of the increase in the rates, I can see groups of people getting together and driving a car to work or to Kona or to Hilo. And you can bet that these cars are going to be unsafe, that they're going to be polluting, and that they are not the desired effect of this increase in the bus fare. I'm against, obviously, an increase in the bus fare. I personally think it should go back to zero. While I respect Mr. Last's position on the fact that it has to be self-supporting, I think it is self-supporting in so many other ways, as to society and to the benefit to the island, that I think that that it's a bit disingenuous to feel that it has to be self-supporting. On to Resolution 132-13. Again, while I am quite sure that these people are deserving of a raise, it's not exactly the same thing as the fact that this money has to come from somewhere. And although, again, as I say, I'm sure there's not a direct line to an increase in bus fare, that's a bit naive. However, it certainly feels as though this would be done on the backs of people who can least afford it. I'm also testifying on behalf of Joanne O'Donnell, and she didn't ask me to give any long opinions, but she did say to make sure that everyone understood that she is testifying as a senior citizen who is living on Social Security, very, very limited income, and always wondering if her money is going to last the month as far as food is concerned. She rides the bus, so she is opposed to Bill 86. She is opposed to the increase in salaries because she said that she could only vote for that when her salary was increased. And she is also opposed to the weight tax on the road, perhaps just on general principle. She did not give an opinion on that. And that's the testimony from me.
Thank you very much. Coming back to Kona, Mr. Curtis Tyler on Resolution 129 and 130.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the County Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. And Mr. Yoshimoto, Chair Yoshimoto, she's acting. Thank you for giving Karen the opportunity to share the chair when you come to Kona. We did that when I was on the council with Mr. Arakaki, and I think it worked very well. So thank you for that. I'm going to speak very briefly on items which I did not list down after listening to some of the testimony. Regarding the buses, I would urge the council to look into a fixed route system versus a commuter system. We're on a commuter system.
Oh. Damn. Oh. Don't want to miss his.
System also has significant advantages and would address some of the concerns that you heard from some of the testifiers. I think the increase in the rates is probably long overdue. You will recall, some of you, that I proposed a 6-month free Kokua zone to start the route from the south, and subsequently everything became free, and I don't think that should be so. You have to look at the cost and figure out what's going to help you there. Regarding the vehicle fees and the proposed salary increase, it seems to me that I read in the paper that these, as well as the bus fee increases, were included in your budget. But I don't recall that these particular matters came up before the council while you were considering that. I just heard that, oh, you put them in the budget. It would seem to me that you should have discussed these as part of the budget before you passed the budget with these increases, because what if the people convince you not to have them? Then what? You have more money in there. That's all I want to say about that. I'm speaking now in favor of Resolution 129-13 and Resolution 130-13 regarding the Kohanaiki, the dedication of the Kohanaiki Coastal Park and the easement along the shoreline. I think there's a few, we've heard a lot from people today, but there's a few concepts that I want to share today with you very simply. The first is to give thanks to Akua, to say Akua has blessed this community with diversity, with differences of opinion, and with but still the opportunity to kuka. to come together to talk story and figure out what's really best for the present and future generations. I would like to talk about Ohana. We have heard from the Lee Ohana and others this morning, and Ohana is kind of the basis of how this all happened. The protect, what was then called Protect Kohanaiki Ohana. And in there were people of various groups and persuasions and ideas. And I look at Rebecca coming up here today, and you know, she was just a young surfer then, and she has her own family, etc. So things have moved along. I'd like to talk to you about Pico. It seems to me that Kohanaiki, as the mayor, as Angel and others have spoken, it really is the center point. It is the Pico of how we in a democracy work together to come up with a solution that benefits the most number of people, present and future generations. And out of Kohanaiki, and by the way, I wanted to also mention Mahealani Pai, and I also wanted to mention Jerry Rothstein, who were involved in these from the very early days. So out of Kohanaiki came the past decision. Out of that came the Kapa'akai Oka'aina, of which some of us in this room were quite involved, including your chair today, and your deputy county clerk, myself and others. And so this sort of was the center point, from which the rule of law came to prevail. There were quite a few differences of opinion, but ultimately the rule of law prevailed. Now it took some fighting, and it took a lot of in terms of legal battles, but it has made things better. And I hope, by the way, that the next project that you, Karen, and others from Kona, Drew, Mamo, will be to go after O'oma along the shoreline, because that will complete it almost all the way out to Piholo. And that was a vision we talked about at Kapa'akai. So, and the other thing I want to mention is Kuleana. What has happened is that the people from Kona, along with their elected officials and their appointed officials, got together and said, this is our Kuleana. We are going to work together because it's our responsibility, which is what Kuleana means. And it's a wonderful example of that. Not everything turned out the way everybody wanted, but it usually doesn't. It's the whole is much greater than the sum of the parts, the synergism. And finally, I'd like to say that this is an example not just of pololei, that 2 + 2 = 4, 4 + 4 equals 8. That's correct. That's pololei. This is an example of pono, and it's much greater than just saying, oh, well, it's correct. The wording is right this way, and we did it this way. This is, as Mr. Morrow described to Mayor Harry, was that there was just something spiritual about this place. And all of us who have been there know that is true. That is true. And it will remain true, and we should always remember that. Maikapomai oiai'o, that the truth does not ever require belief to exist. It's nice to believe it, and the sooner we do, the better it is. Imagine if all this had happened 30 years ago. There have been not so many teeth that are ground down, and wrinkles, etc., etc. So I would just say, Emaukea okaina ikapono. The life of the land shall always be perpetuated in that which is pono, and it must be. Is an imperative. It must be, and I wish you luck. And I thank you for your service to this community, and all the people behind me who come today to support issues that are important to them. This is what democratic republic is all about. And we thank you for your service, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Mr. Bell.
Are you sure you're ready for me?
Just state your name for the record, and you can go ahead. No. Is the light on?
Well, there's a little green light.
Okay, speak there.
I think that doesn't look right.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here today. It's really a great pleasure that I had the opportunity to be a part of today's landmark meeting in which the County Council is to accept the Kohanaiki Coastal Park As a member of the State House of Representatives, I was very involved with this important piece of legislation. I'm presenting to you a booklet of documents regarding the history of 26 years. He was just a little boy when I came to Kona, and he wasn't even born when I came to Kona, so that gives you a little clue. But I'm still very much alive. But this history that I have, there's about 1,000-something people that signed petitions, and I have copies of all of those from over the years wanting to be a part of this Kohanaiki. The booklet also that I have prepared for you is for you to look at, because it has all kinds of documents that I've been saving over the years, because I was hoping someday this would happen. It took 26 years, but here I am, still going. Okay, and it starts with May 1st, 1987, when the Land Use Commission's order on the docket, which was when this was referred to as the Kona Beach Development Venture. Totally different than what it is right now. There are numerous people who should be recognized as the ones who kept on top of this development, and that includes our own former councilman, Angel Palago, your present councilperson, Karen Eos, plus Jerry Rothstein, who is no longer with us. I fully support the County Council acceptance of the Kohanaiki Coastal Park and the utility easement. So I would like to add one other. I think you're making a big mistake on the school bus. It's the other way around. The state's responsible for the schools, not you. You're responsible for the roads, plumbing, water, things like that. But somehow you've got it turned around, and I would like to suggest that you take a look at the law and what the state's responsible for. And if you look in Honolulu, there's so many people and so many buses and ways to get there. Everybody assumes that that's okay. But they also have a bus system. Now, this is an island that's bigger, that has more space, but there's no excuse for blaming the county for a thing that the state is responsible for. So I would recommend that you look very carefully at that, get your people who are in the state involved in this. You're not responsible for that, I gotta tell you. I couldn't believe it when I was listening to it, and I thought, that doesn't make sense. That's when you've been in the State House of Representatives or the Senate, you know what your responsibilities are. I thank you very much for your time, and I'm so glad I got here. But I wasted a lot of time sitting here too, but I also enjoyed hearing what everybody had to say. And it's good to see all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm not used to this. Okay. I'm going to check with Hilo. I think there's more testifiers there. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, we have our additional 2 more testifiers. Alan D. McNary commenting on Bill 86 Draft 2, and Dwight S. Vicente commenting on Resolutions 18 and 126.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Is this on? Okay, good. I've already testified on this once. In the interim since then, there's a Facebook page called the Helion Bus Users Forum, and the county didn't set this up. The writers themselves did, and it's been quite lively lately since this proposal came up. And I appreciate the fact that Kevin Dayton came on to that forum and was explaining the county's position. Mr. Dayton said that in actuality, each fare cost the county $6 or $6.50, I believe it was, and I don't know exactly how that was reached. I would love to have heard testimony before the council about that. One thing I wanted to do is correct a figure I gave last time. I mentioned that it was a little bit difficult to say that the county's cut things down to the bone and we need to raise fees and taxes. because, or when you're paying $400,000 for a bathroom in a state park. A friend of mine actually looked up the figure, and I was low. Apparently it cost around $569,000 for that bathroom in Reeds Bay. I got on the calculator really quickly and figured out that giving Mr. Disfigures $650 a fare, that bathroom alone would have paid for 8,538 bus riders.
Wow.
When people talk about taxes, the idea is that a regressive tax is bad. And I know this is a fee, but this couldn't be more regressive. You're going after students, seniors, the disabled, the poor, the homeless, while you're talking about raising your own salaries. That just doesn't sound right. Yeah, it's a subsidy, but it's a subsidy for people that need this. I hate to say it, but I'm one of those people who need it. I'm a freelance writer. Sometimes there's money, sometimes there isn't. And the bus has been a godsend for me. Right now, I just happen to have $2 in my pocket. Had these current fees been in place today, I would be thumbing a ride down here to testify. That's true for a lot of the people on the bus. They need it. They have a hard time getting around without it. And you're going to be cutting them off. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Dwight Vicente. I'm representing Hawaiian Kingdom. I'm going to add on Bill 85. Bill 85, the vehicle registration fee is based on an illegal tax that Congress placed on articles that was manufactured, whether it be vehicles, guns, and when it's imported here, they require you to register it. The part of the tax for this kingdom belongs to this kingdom, and we should not be influenced by outside taxing powers, whether it be constitutional or not. Resolution 1813. Now they're dealing with the International Association of Assessing Officers. Now the only treaties known is in the name of the Hawaiian Kingdom. So when you're dealing with international, there is no treaty signed with any country between the state of Hawaii and any country. So it shouldn't be addressed as international. The United States consists of 13 states, and when they sign treaties for the United States, they're dealing only with 13 states. This kingdom is not included. (126-13). It's stated in here that the county owned land, but the county being an illegal creature of collusion, just as the state of Hawaii, they do not own lands. Lands here are based on the laws of this kingdom. The lands are either designated crown or government lands. So this lease here would be void because the county does not own the lands. With this, I'll end with the reservation of the rights of this kingdom under the Queen's Protest of January 17, 1893. It has yet to make its way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2. Original but limited jurisdiction over U.S. Minister Stevens only. And the other one is the illegal application of the Northwest Ordinance to this kingdom in 1887 with the Bennett Constitution and Reciprocity Treaty. These is yet to be heard in the federal courts in Washington, D.C. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to check with the other sites, but while I'm doing that, I'd like to ask Rochelle Moore and Janice Palmaglenny to come forward. Okay, I'm just checking with Pahoa. Do you have any other testifiers?
We do have testifiers, Madam Chair. We have Judy Kona. She would like to support bills number 82 and 83, and she's representing Hawaiian Paradise Park Homeowners Association.
Is that your last testifier?
No, we have about 2 others.
Okay, well, you can bring two at this time.
Okay, and the next will be Michael Hollinger representing himself in opposition of Bill 86.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning. Aloha to everybody, and thank you for your time. I'm currently the president of Hawaiian Paradise Park Owners Association, and as you've already heard from previous testifiers, we have had an issue with the Department of Health in trying to control the fugitive dust from our unpaved roads. I happen to live on one of them. Last fall, we sent out a questionnaire to all of the residents and asked them for their concerns in the park, and there were such things as asking them, finance, dust, and potholes and overgrown vegetation. Number one issue came back as speeding cars. We have needed so much to have some better control over trying to enforce speed limits in HVP. And when we went to Honolulu last year to talk to the Department of Health, one of the things that we took with us as a possible mitigation is to get some better enforcement of speed limits in the park so that we can control it better. Because as we well know, 15 miles an hour is a lot better than 30. We certainly hope that you will support Bill 82 and 83. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Aloha, thank you, Council. My name is Michael. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to be able to listen to everybody. And I am opposed to Bill 86, especially knowing and realizing that you guys are trying to raise your salaries at the same time seems a little bit controversial, at least, that you would be attacking the poorest of the county that depend on a bus system like this, ranging from students to disabled, retirees, anyone that takes the bus, are now going to be in jeopardy of not being able to afford the bus. One of the things I really urge you guys to look at is to look at the efficiency of the bus system and figure out ways, cheapest, most realistic ways to actually make the bus more efficient and run better. I heard recently that there's a lot of deadheading, which makes a lot of sense, that there are buses that are running that have absolutely nobody on there because they're dedicated to certain things like students or something. I think that's kind of odd, that there's buses that are dedicated to a certain purpose and half the time aren't being used for that purpose. So I think if you guys really looked at efficiency and ways to make things run better, it should actually end up becoming cheaper in the end. And you wouldn't, this whole talk of being able to, raising the bus fares, doubling the bus fares to Honolulu-like levels wouldn't really be an issue. And if you guys are going to be raising it to Honolulu-like levels, we should at least have Honolulu-like standards, like running buses on Sundays and making it so that you don't have to, wait 2 hours sometimes, like say after school, if I miss my, if I get out of school at 5 o'clock, and I miss that last bus, have to wait 2 hours for the next bus to come. All that is really, really silly. So really urge you guys to use caution on who you guys are going to be sticking the cost to, especially when you guys are talking about raising your salaries. Snaps for that matter, why don't you guys look at putting your salaries back to 06 levels, then that way you guys would be paying your own fair share also as a part of it. Thank you.
Okay, Rochelle Moore.
Hi, I'm Rochelle Moore, and I'm sure you'll be happy to hear I have no speeches to give, and I have no stories to tell, and I have no people to thank. I just have a strong suggestion. When you make your deliberations, please be in top form, given the fact that the national polls on trust in government is liable to be seen at the state and local level real soon. So when you make your deliberations, understand that what you see as reality, we may see as image. Given the fact that I would not support 4% increase in the legislative branch simply because A, I don't know who these people are. I don't know whether they deserve this money. I don't know how they got the job, and I don't know whether they're qualified for the job. And then say to the bus drivers, you got to pay an extra $2. That doesn't work. Does not work. I don't want to go further into that because most of these people have said everything I have to say anyway. I do support task force on taxes, and I would like you to pay special attention between the possibility of the disparity between the east and the west, part of our beautiful island, and to consider where agricultural taxes are merely loopholes for the rich and famous who live on these agricultural lands. As far as spearfishing, I'm a scuba diver, and I've seen what my colleagues do, both locals and tourists. It's not pretty down there. Therefore, I would support the reinstatement of rules terminating scuba spearfishing. And Communication 307, I'm allowed to say a little thing on that. Why do we need a special counsel? I also support the idea there should become an agenda item, again, imagery, open discussion, transparency. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Palmaglendi.
Aloha, council members. I don't know the resolution or the bill number for the spearfishing, but I support a ban on scuba spearfishing. And I'm sorry that I don't have that. Resolution 131-13. I'm here mostly today to speak about the resolutions regarding Kohanaiki. It's a bittersweet day, the culmination of decades of community work to protect a treasured coastline, not as we hoped, but as it is. As a core group member of the Kohanaiki Ohana, since its inception, my life has focused for over 20 years on protecting Kohanaiki from development. My heart breaks to see so much of what we fought for lost, despite great legal victories achieved, lives changed for the better, and the friendships made. I support transferring 38 acres of land for the public park. However, it is an indignity to call the 65 acres that are a private golf course anything other than what it was, a PR ploy that sugarcoats the truth that developers are getting exclusive use of public land. Misleading statements promising 110 acres of public park created mistrust of the so-called good faith agreement. We see with our eyes what we've got, and we know in our hearts what we've lost. But aside from that, I wanted to speak to the good parts of the Kohanaiki story. What made the grassroots campaign transformative to our community? But I can't do that in 3 minutes, and I feel sad not being able to. And unfortunately, I didn't know that I was speaking to 2 items and could have had longer. But I can say that my life's trajectory was set with the Kohanaiki campaign. Our goal was not just to save pine trees, but to change old paradigms by changing the political landscape and land use approach that was paralyzing Hawaii Island with overdevelopment and gridlock. We changed laws to protect natural and cultural resources and encouraged others to take part in democracy. The group was successful in many ways, though it's clear that much more work needs to be done. We've been lucky and proud to watch a slew of keiki grow up in the natural safety of Kohanaiki, learning to love the land and perpetuate Hawaii's culture in the truest, purest, unrehearsed sense. Tiny Protect Kohanaiki t-shirt sellers have become adults, and some even have keiki of their own, even learning now that they need to work to protect the lands they love. The beat goes on. Along with 450 acres of land, we lost some of our closest allies and friends, especially Douglas Blake, Jerry Rothstein, and Kelly Moorhead. Each was instrumental in achieving the protection of this land and other critical lands. There are a few things I ask the 3 groups that will be managing Kohanaiki. First, the developers. Live up to your promises. No more slip-ups on water treatment. No asking to get out of toxic chemical agreements. Next, be respectful of our community and our space. Our commitment to it has nothing to do with money or bringing tourists. It's about the things that money can't buy and tourists don't bring. Respect our community's deep need to access our park as we have for generations. You have the power to keep the Jeep Road vehicular access open all the way to the south end of our park. Let us keep our access, and you be happy with how very much you have. The county, be flexible. As you know, Kohanaiki isn't and can't be treated like other parks. Please trust us. Kohanaiki Ohana, we've done an amazing job working for the higher good. But the Ohana can't become a clique that demands political loyalty or has no patience for dissent. Even when we don't agree, we are all part of the Kohanaiki cloth and must remain so for it to be strong. As people say, it could have been worse. As much as those words are true and meant to be balm on the wound our community feels so deeply, each person needs the time, space, and respect for their pain to heal. Only with that understanding, can our community move on united as it has been to enjoy the land we hold so dear, as well as the people and values that helped protect it. Mahalo. Thank you.
Let me just check back with Hilo. Was there one more testifier?
Yes, Madam Chair. Our last testifier is Shelley Mahi. She spoke earlier, but would like to testify on additional items. She'll be speaking on Communication 307, Resolution 130, and Bill 82.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
See, first I'd like to testify on the Paradise Park, Bill number 82, in reference to the police department and their enforcement. I just wanted to make it very plain and simple so far as how the police uses their enforcement capabilities. Basically, I know that they are in the process of this CALEA accreditation process, that they have a conditional accreditation. Problem is, I did go to a meeting on the status of women just the other day and informed them that the police department here on the Big Island is allowed through their pain compliance and use of force on page 6-12 with the illustration 6-13, that they're allowed to strike women and juveniles in the neck, not just a pressure point, but actually a quick jab to the neck to render mental stun and motor skill cessation. So I'm just asking that there should be, well actually I'm pretty much demanding that there should be statewide standards for the police when they're enforcing speed limits or other things, and that there's an immediate cease and desist on this constitutionally.
I'm really sorry to interrupt, but we're not sure which item you're testifying.
Oh, I'm talking about Bill number 82.
The speed limit?
Yes, and I'm talking about the police department and their enforcement and how they go about enforcing things. So I'm just asking that if the county, I don't know if they need to pull into special session with the Corporation Council, but the Corporation Council is basically stating that this is a legitimate form of law enforcement because women's necks are smaller and that it's ineffective on men. And that also that they're, in their own manual it states that they're not allowed to strike the bony structures of a citizen, and I stated this at the status of women in front of a state representative as well, that women are citizens too. So are juveniles. So neither women nor juveniles should be struck in the neck, especially in this case so far as enforcement. In the Paradise Park, there should not be any excessive force, and that I am requesting a possibility that under public health and safety that Brenda Ford, hello Brenda, might be interested either on this issue or just a general issue of an immediate cease and desist of their use of force as illustrated on 6-12 and 6-13. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'd like to talk about the Hamakua lease. I did just get the map of the leased lands. I'm sort of happy to say that the county wasn't able to sell the properties. That's good because they don't actually own them. But I did notice that part of the lease, it looks like it's in Puelo. So we're back to the royal patents of Queen Leleokalani that were crossed out, and that these are altered documents, as we were informed, and that no title can be passed on this. And I just needed to say that the heirs of Leleokalani and relatives of Leleokalani are still alive today. A lot of them are very concerned about trying to come out into the public. But if you might want to look under what's called probate 1839, and that has to do with Leleokalani's mother, Land Commission Award 8452. It does list some of the heirs and relatives of Leleokalani that could be contacted, and things worked out under due diligence. There wasn't proper diligence done on this issue. And yeah, I just wanted to make a statement that the heirs of Leleokalani do exist, and that maybe the Lau Ranch and other folks that are doing leasing of these properties, need to keep that in mind. They might want to contact Queen Leleokalani Trust so far as the Puelo properties, because we do know that those were altered documents under Queen Leleokalani. Thank you for that. And now I'd like to talk about the, I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but the Kohanaiki project. First of all, I want to say to you all, the developers do not have legal title to that property. They don't. There's a serious cloud on the title, and that's why a lot of developers have backed out. And I want to reiterate, and this is for, I'm going to talk on both 130-13 and, doing the right one though, 129-13, that the rights of the heirs have never been waived, and the rights of the heirs of the Kohanaiki for that area exist. That there's no way that they could have actually transferred the title, because, as I say again, according to this case on Exhibit B in County of Hawaii versus Abel Louie, this is actually the Kauai case, Judge Florendo does state, no ifs, ands, or buts, that they lack matter of subject jurisdiction and that they lack the power to decide question to land title. So I am pretty much confident that this has passed through the district court, and that this case should actually be recalled. I believe that the it's also mentioning grants for Kapena and Hulikoa. Those are just a few of those that are named in the area. I do not believe they had due diligence. I don't believe they were pursued properly. Neither were any of the royal heirs, because that area is actually a royal burial ground. And I just wanted to let you know that the bones, the Eevee, out of that area were actually discovered in a placed in paper bags. They were taken away from the site. I don't know if that was ever settled as to all these Eevee that were found in paper bags, and that also that the model, this all falls short, because the developers are saying that they legally own the land, that they're coming up with this project, but actually they're in possession of stolen property. And I just wanted to bring up a few issues about the park. First of all, we've had a lot of problems with park and recreation so far as no spray zones, that they will not, they won't comply. So I'm a little concerned about that. Also that the Alakakai Trail runs through there. Eric Arkaki did state he's a Fed, but he's fed up with how the state and the county are treating Native Hawaiians along the trail. There's public access shore rights there. So basically, yes, you have a park here. Maybe it is like a sugar-coated situation, but they don't have legal title. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see, I believe it had Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Yes, and I'd like to talk about Resolution 129-13. I'm going to read to you a quote from one of the abstractors from the state of Hawaii, referring to land. Basically, he stated that this is August 24th of 2006. He stated, "There is no quiet title of royal patent lands. If the heirs are called to the Third Circuit Court and do not show up for whatever reason, no due diligence, no legal ad, not written in Hawaiian, etc., the land immediately reverts back to the original owner, excuse me, over the whole ahupua'a." So in this case, Kohanaiki, what does it fall under? Is it a government ahupua'a? Is there an owner? Is there a konohiki? These are the legal matters that need to be really looked into. And the Parks and Recs, also the community development, they have admitted that they have never really worked with native tenants in the park. So if that's actually going to happen, I commend you. But I'd like to see it happen, because right now they're very derelict in their duty in other parks. And other parks, many other parks have a history of Hawaiians being dragged off in the name of Parks and Recreation. So I want to read this message to you today that was relayed to me this morning. A message from the royal family, the Ohana of Kamehameha, the Aupuni Kupuna of Keawe, Alapai, and Mahi, etc., that they appreciate your legal responsibility in holding lands in trust and Kuleana lands in trust. That they also want to let you know and convey that these lands are in World Court and they are a cultural landscape, and these lands that are held in World Court are basically there because they are of Ko Hawaii Pai Aina, and that the state of Hawaii and the Kingdom of Hawaii, that it was a shotgun wedding and they're in a state of divorce. So basically, to freeze all assets in the meantime that we're in an interim situation, and to recommend that the county comply with its laws and do not further activate any issues of cultural genocide. Okay, I'll summarize. Whereas the County Council of Hawaii understands the Hawaiians' land or Aina is part of their religion, the County Council of Hawaii will demonstrate that the actions of those individuals here today who have been duly elected by the people cannot in good faith or in good conscience reflect any remnant of belligerent occupants, PL 103-150, nor allow consequential actions that would cause the permanent prejudice of Hawaiian nationals from their national lands or cause the Hawaiians to diminish, which would be a violation of the conditions of statehood. Mahalo.
Thank you. Was that your last? Okay, thank you. I think that is the last speaker from Hilo. And I believe there's one more in Ka'u. And while I'm waiting for Ka'u, I'm going to ask Regina Orlando and George Robertson to please come forward. Okay, Ka'u, you can go ahead.
Hi, Madam Chair, I have here Barbara Lewis, and she's opposing bill number 85 and 86, draft 2.
Thank you.
Hello?
Go ahead. Hello.
I would like to express my opposition to 86-2, which is the bill to charge seniors to ride the county municipal transit system. The people here in Ocean View particularly
it's a 100-mile round trip to Kona from here, and it's more than that, go to Hilo. And most of the people out here, I would say, unequivocally, are on very limited incomes and cannot afford to drive, so they ride the bus. The bus was originally intended to be free, and for seniors, I strongly feel it should remain charged. For one thing, more people ride the bus, and they bought more buses, so more people ride the bus. It protects the environment from cars on the road. A lot of people out here have really rickety cars that pollute badly, and that would be an adverse effect of having to pay to ride the bus. Also, it would put a lot of illegal cars on the road, and these folks who have the illegal cars that are not roadworthy, and mine could become that way any day, those folks do not have the financial means to make their cars roadworthy, and so they would be driving illegally. They also wouldn't be able to pay the fines or the tickets or whatever for driving illegal cars because they can't get their cars fixed in the first place because they don't have money. So it's a vicious cycle, and I really do think that seniors should not have to pay to ride the bus 100 miles, like say every day or whatever. Secondly, I'm opposed to bill number 85, which has to do with the increase in motor vehicle tax. Already it is so high, it is incredible. And seniors like myself, who are on very fixed incomes, it's a big chunk out of our monthly income to pay that amount every year. I think also folks out here, like I said before, on the bus, it's basically kind of related to the bus bill. If people have to pay an arm and a leg to register their car, they're going to want to ride the bus. But now they're going to have to pay to ride the bus? I don't think so. Thank you.
Thank you. Coming back to Kona, Regina.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Aloha, my name is Regina Orlando. I'm here speaking in support of Resolution 129-13. I'm also here to implore the interested parties to reconsider your decision to close the Jeep Trail in its entirety to vehicular access. Many who have testified before me today spoke of the past and letting it rest, of living in the present with a spirit of cooperation between all people. These are the main talking points of my testimony today. My family has called the Big Island home for more than 20 years. Before I moved here myself in 2007, I would visit frequently, usually once or twice a year. I remember noticing the growth that was occurring in Kona even back then. And here we are today, sitting in this beautiful new civic center in a state-of-the-art council meeting room. In the 6 years I've been here, major retailers like Target, Pier 1, and Sports Authority have opened their doors, providing product and employment to our growing populations. As a matter of fact, the greater Kailua-Kona area is growing so much that U.S. Census data reports a 40% increase in population since the year 2000. If Hawaii County has taken the time and expense to improve upon their buildings and offices in part to better serve the growing West Side population, and if major retailers had enough gumption to open their doors in an area 2,500 miles removed from their nearest supply route in the middle of a recession because they saw the potential for their businesses to succeed in our growing West Side economy, well then, is it not too much to ask of our elected county officials to work with the developer to revisit and possibly revise a good faith agreement that was created back in 2003 when our population was approximately 60% of what it is today? My testimony here is not to undermine the hard work of Councilwoman Eoff, former mayors Pilago and Kim, the Kohanaiki Ohana, or the dozens of community members who fought so tirelessly for this land over the past 25 years. Nor am I here to disrespect those, like the Lee family, who wish to preserve the culturally sensitive sites on this land. I understand and appreciate the employment opportunities that have arisen from the development, and I respect the views of all who are emotionally invested in this cause, whether those views mirror mine or not. Personally, I spend 3 to 4 days a week at the beach that we call Pine Trees. I was in the water when the heavy machinery broke ground to create the park we speak of today. When I ducked my head underwater to escape those horribly offensive noises, I heard and felt the vibration of the land. And I stood on the beach as the keiki cried, wondering what happened to the trees that they loved to play on. So I am here today as a representative of the community of people who, while we like the new park that the developer has created, we like our beach Soloway much better. I'm representing the almost 4,000 people who signed a petition asking the county and the developer to reconsider their decision to close the Jeep Trail in its entirety. I'm representing the local artist and local surfer who collaborated using their own funds to create the t-shirt that I'm wearing today. This little oceanside village we all love is growing so quickly. There's little shoreline left for the community to gather and enjoy the lifestyle that the ocean provides. Please do not take away the shoreline vehicular access to this spot. Please do not squeeze the community in between gates to accommodate the wealthy few who will be able to purchase land here. Please read and listen to the words of the community members who have elected you by viewing the petition I will present to you today. In closing, I would also like the county to be very diligent in monitoring the development, water quality levels especially. You know, I smell the chemicals in the water. My eyes burn in the water now. You know, I wonder about the correspondence that the National Park Service has sent out to city planners in regards to the interim wastewater treatment program, in which the plan that was approved is not being followed. I wonder about the application of the development to lift the ban on the use of termiticides. All that's going to run into the water that the community spends so much time in. So I really hope, you know, moving forward that there can be a continued spirit of cooperation, because there's a lot of people who, while today is a happy day for all of them, it's also very sad. Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Robertson.
Morning. Thank you for having me. I'm George Robertson. I represent the Pulco Community Association. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you and my old friends in the audience, particularly Angel, and Mayor Kim was here. I guess he's Angel. All right. And congratulations on Kohanaiki, and I think you've heard a lot of testimony. I'm not going to talk about Kohanaiki. I'm going to talk about Pulco. And your resolution 131, thanks to Margaret, who got on top of it really fast, and she read the resolution that Pulco Community Association Board had put together on this same subject, and it's critical that the scuba spearfishing be ended, and that the Pulco boundary be reestablished by this resolution, or by the rule change. Bill Isla acted irresponsibly and tried to withdraw the provisions for the rule changes, but the board, I guess, convinced them to leave them in. So I think the board will be acting on that pretty soon at their next meeting, and hopefully they'll pass the rule changes in their entirety. I just want to bring to your attention the critical status of Pulco Reef and the reef at Powell Bay, which is toward Maunalani. Bill Walsh, our DAR professor of the reef, came out with a paper that says South Kohala Reef in dire straits. And I just want to read you a couple of statistics here, because it's frightening to me. And I live at Wailea Bay, Beach 69, and I swim 2 or 3 times a week for the past, I lived there for 38 years. And Wailea Bay is a MLCD, it's a Marine Life Conservation District. There's no taking really, except you can do a little pole fishing in the bay, and that's it. You can't do anything else. But it's turned into a desert. There are no fish in Waialae Bay to speak of compared to when I used to swim there. I mean, or compared to when I first started swimming there. It's a disaster. Anyway, this is what Bill talks about as far as the decline. A total abundance of all species of fish has declined substantially, 43 to 69% on all transects at Pulico between the original and most recent surveys.
Can you summarize now, please?
So, and that's true also of Paoa Bay. So things are in a critical state. It's critical that we pass, these rule changes are passed intact, and scuba spearfishing, which is a major stressor of the reef, is eliminated. And it's only for this Kona area. It's only within the Kona fishery. It's not statewide or island-wide. It's just our waters here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other testifiers in the outer sites right now?
Chair, there is no testifiers in Hilo.
Okay, thank you. Are there any in Ka'u?
No, Madam Chair, there's no testifiers here in Ka'u.
Okay, and are there any in Pahoa?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have one testifier.
Okay, we'll take your testifier, and then I'm going to poll the council members and see what we should do, since it is a little bit after 12, and I still have, I think, 10 more testifiers here. So, Pahoa, can you please bring your testifier forward?
We have E.K. Payne in opposition of Bill number 86.
Hello, Council. My name is E.K. Payne, and I am opposed to Bill 86. I think we're kind of putting the cart before the horse with this matter right here. And we should be looking at the infrastructure of our transit system on the island. Before we can think about raising our rates to Oahu standards, we first should think about making sure that there are adequate bus stops along every route so everyone knows where they can pick up a bus, where there are also adequate buses so that people are not standing in the rain, so that people are not left waiting on the sides of the road, and trying to make sure that there is enough bus routes. Like if we're going to go to Oahu standards, then why don't we have buses that are going to Maku'u, buses that are going on Sunday, late night bus routes, buses that are going to the airports, and all the other places that people want to go. There's a large majority of people that get stranded on a daily basis, and to even think about making people pay a higher bus rate before we have the services that are exemplary for a bus system for people to be paying $2 or $2.25 for whatever the reason is. We need to ensure that we have the services available so that people can get to and fro from where it is that they need to get to. It's very important that our representatives really talk to their constituents and find out what the reality is. I really applaud Brenda Ford for opposing this. I think that more of you should oppose it also and really take a hard look at what it is you're going to do. This is a service to the people of Hawaii Island. And if you're looking for ways to pay for it, I mean, you can always put fines on residential lot owners that have all these junk trees until they bring them down, fine them. I mean, there are so many different ways and to try to put it on the back of the constituents. Thank you. Aloha.
Thank you. Aloha. Okay. Thank you. So we still have 10 more testifiers here in Kona. I guess that would probably take about a half an hour or maybe a little more.
Yeah,
Would you
let's
like me
take all the
continue with
testifiers and then we can end it and then we can move on.
Okay.
All right.
So, can I please have Michelle Kern, or Kerr? Karen? Okay, and Shannon Rudolph, please. Go ahead.
Good morning, afternoon, whatever time it is.
Is the light on?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And I thank you all for sitting here patiently and listening to everyone and various opinions and some more skilled than others in their oratory. I have a few things to speak on and I'll try to keep it brief. I'm in support of Resolution 13113, as many other people have been here. Before I go on, I had a question from the very beginning. Based on the rules of this council that were established at the beginning, I didn't hear, and I would be interested to hear what it is, the reason that Mr. Kern is not in attendance, and for the record.
Well, he did send a letter. He was supposed to be in attendance in Hilo, but he had a personal emergency that came up and made him unable to be there.
All right, thank you. In regard to 13113, regarding the scuba fishing, I would urge all council members to support each other in every opportunity that they have, whether you necessarily agree with them or not, when it comes down to home rule. This seems like an instance where we had several testifiers that were against having scuba, overwhelmingly, and then it went from here to DLNR, and they took that portion out. I think it's very important that we stress home rule every time, because if you imagine a pyramid upside down so that it's sitting on its point, where the rule comes from the top down instead of from the bottom up, it's clear that if you have a bottom-up rule, home rule, that it comes from the people and goes up to the top. When it turns the other way, it's teetering like this. And when people here overwhelmingly agree to something and then it goes to Honolulu and they make a different decision, that's not right. And that's when all council members should support each other when that happens. We've seen it happen over and over again. That's a good example is this GMO issue, that the Big Island has an opportunity to have home rule on GMO, and we're an island and we should have home rule on that. And whether you necessarily agree with it, I think the more times you can support home rule, the better off we're all going to be. That and the rule of law. And the rule of law, I guess, would go to an example of that would be the county charter amendment in 2010, which was put to the voters. They voted for it overwhelmingly, that the head of the Environmental Management Department would have an engineering degree.
That item is not on the agenda.
Pardon me?
That item is not on the agenda today. So could you please speak to one of the items on the agenda?
Well, I was just commenting that as far as the rule of law goes. I won't go any further, but that was my example there. Regarding Communication 307, the need for special counsel on real estate, I think the county has proven over and over again that they should not be in the affordable housing business, at least not producing houses for sale. They're never or rarely affordable. We've been in lawsuit after lawsuit. I think, if anything, the county should be creating rental housing and then make the people who have available to rent those houses be accountable. And if they don't take care of the property, then turn it over to someone else. Regarding 13213, increase in the legislative branch staff 4% pay increase. It seems to be that we just had this come up with the mayor's pay and other cabinet members' pay. And it seems to be the dog continually chasing its tail. We have to raise somebody's pay, and then somebody else has to get a pay raise to keep up with their pay raise. And it seems that with all the fee increases, the buses, the weight tax, fuel tax, et cetera, it just shows a disregard for the working public in a time of hard times. That's about all I had to say.
Okay, and thank you. Thank you. Ms. Rudolph?
Aloha.
Aloha.
Shannon Rudolph. Aloha. Let's see, I didn't know that 70% of the fish are gone from Puako. Okay, I support the spearfishing ban, even though I didn't sign up and I don't know what the number is, but that's outrageous. That's got to change. And if you have to fight the state on it, go for it. And also the bus fee increase, Bill 86. Last time I was in on the other side, I picked up a young girl hitchhiking. She was 16 years old. It was just starting to get dark. And I said, why didn't you take the bus? And she said, I didn't have $1. And I couldn't, in good conscience, drop her off miles down the road on the highway with so many girls missing on this island over the years. I took her all the way down to the bottom of Paradise Park, out of my way, 6 miles, whatever it is, because I couldn't leave her there on the side of the road. And I know that there's a lot of young girls hitchhiking out there because they can't afford the bus. Come on, you guys. And last but not least, Kohanaiki. I'm really grateful to everybody that worked so hard over the years, these last 26 years. Besides thanking Angel and Karen and Gary and Rebecca and Jim and Curtis, I want to thank Colleen Fitzgerald and Janice Paul McGlinny and also Alistair McGlinny for all the hours spent out on the highway holding a sign, feeling like an idiot, to try to get people to come to meetings. I want to thank them too. I know in my group of friends, a lot of this has caused a rift between a lot of my friends. A lot of people are mad that we traded public road for a bathroom. A lot of people are mad to see a gate halfway down the beach in the middle of the beach. And I know personally, I'm grateful for all the work that everybody did. A lot of people that volunteered their time, that didn't work for the county or didn't work for the developer, that came and gave their input without pay. I'm grateful to them. I went down there the other day and saw the gate, and it was pretty heartbreaking. After being involved on the periphery for 26 some years, it was kind of sad, and a lot of my friends don't even go down there anymore because they said it looks like California. But I know that in negotiating, there's compromises that have to be made. We did the best we could, which probably brings me to a suggestion for future land use issues that come up like this, that maybe we should have professional negotiators when dealing with developers for something of this magnitude and this far-reaching, because I know it's sad for me to see the group that fought for this for so long, that so many of my friends are barely speaking to each other anymore because of what happened down there. So just want to say, maybe a professional negotiator, that way that leaves out all the animosity between friends. I don't know. It just seems like maybe an idea. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kathy Gideon and Connie Fairbanks. No? Is Wayne? Thank you, Wayne. I can't read your last name right now. and Glennon Gingo can come forward. Can you state your name, please?
Aloha, council members, everyone here in attendance in Kona and on the web. My name is Wayne Kukita. I came here just to be in moral support for Kohanaiki Public Beach Park. I wasn't intending to speak today, but as I waited for the meeting to begin, I have a lot of feelings here also, so I signed up to speak today. First of all, I'll be speaking on the developer side. I was asked to join the Kohanaiki team in 2007, worked there 2007 to 2008 when it ended. I accepted the position because I knew that the developer would go through great trials being directly in Kona, but I knew in confidence that things will be done correctly. Archaeological sites will be protected, which it was, and I just knew that project overall would be successful. That's why I joined. I was born and raised in Kona, and I guess in 1973 I learned to surf at Pine Trees myself. And at that time, 1974, I think the road to the park, to the beach got shut down. There was a chain going across the road, and me and my buddies, still in high school, we grabbed our boards, parked our car on the highway, and we beelined it right across the lava. So that was our passion for enjoying the pine trees. It's a beautiful place then, and it's a beautiful place now. 2012, I got asked to join the team again, and I agreed because it was pretty much the same outlook, same respect to property and to the beach. So I was asked to manage the beach park project. Wear my Kohanaiki shirt, my Kohanaiki hard hat. I was a target for everyone on the beach, but they're good and they're bad. I respect each and every one's feelings for that beach, and it goes deep. It's deep for me also. But as a whole, I think majority will enjoy this beach forever. I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, I've raised my kids at the beach. We frequent all of the public parks on the west side, north side, south side, and once in a while on the east side. And as far as parks go, public access goes, proximity to the ocean, I think Kohanaiki is one of the top. I go camping there with my family. We've used the facilities, the new facilities now, and from what I hear from everyone using it, they are very happy with the restrooms. Some people that I know personally, they cannot use the blue portable outhouses. So they leave, they drive home, and they come back. Now they don't have to drive, they can just use the public restrooms and showers right there. So I know there's good and bad, but for me, I speak that my victory is that my grandchildren's children will be able to use this beach. And we're keeping this forever for everyone, not just people in Hawaii, but people from all over the world to use and enjoy this natural beauty. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gingo.
I think we're on there. Thank you. Good afternoon. Glenn and Jinjo. I'm the chairman of the West Hawaii Fisheries Council. A little background. I've been a long-time waterman, been an instructor trainer for scuba and free diving for about 28 years. Prior to that, I was pretty young, so I was diving from the time I was about 12. And for many of the career paths that I've had, long duration and doing consulting work, education on swimming, water safety, aquatic safety, freediving instruction, and scuba in 9 different countries, being based here in Hawaii. I represented the United States on the U.S. freediving team from 1998 to 2002. I brought the first international competition to Hawaii in 2002 as the first United States competition based in the United States here in Hawaii. Those many years of teaching and education were based on giving our youth opportunities to dive and enjoy the reef, to spearfish responsibly, and 12 years of continuous organization of spearfishing and freediving tournaments through the YMCA, and had the opportunity to be mentored by some of the great divers of our time. Some of them have already passed us or passed on. With all of that, I became more involved with the West Hawaii Fisheries Council in 1998. The history of the council was the enactment by Act 306, which was a state legislative mandate, Act 306, to encourage community-based organizations to give guidance and give a little bit of background and community grassroots effort to things that we do in the aquatic environment so that the DLNR can make effective, substantive decisions about the things that are affecting our communities. We spent 10 years and over 2,000 volunteer hours encompassing over 500 people in the community giving input. We also have had over 68 members of the council in the time that we've been in existence. This effort put forth by the local community and the West Hawaii Fisheries Council purview area extends from the north at Opula Point to the south in Kalai. That is our area, and that's the area covered by the resolution that I'm speaking on today, Resolution 131-13. We're encouraging the community at this level to support the DLNR to accept the package that we have put forth. Over the 10 years and countless hours and the time that we've spent in the community, we appreciate Councilmember Wiley for bringing forth their support from the Puako area, which is affected by this. You heard the numbers. My time and my education with youth is based on having a healthy reef and something for our grandchildren to enjoy and to spearfish and enjoy, but not on scuba. Scuba is just not the right take effort. And you read the headlines about our Palau president who visited us. That was one of many things that was also considered, and they do not have scuba, as well as 13 other countries that have done the same thing. Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to call up Sammy Stanbro and Subhadra Cochran. I don't see Subhadra. So Shane Nelson, you can go ahead, Sam.
Well, Council, it's been a long time since I've spoken in front of you. I really appreciate being here today and seeing all of your faces. It's a really exciting time. I remember very well the afternoon that Harry Kim called me, a new mayor, and said, I have somebody that wants to buy Kohanaiki. I need to talk with somebody over there. I don't know a lot of people in Hilo. Who would be the best person? And I told him you could talk to a lot of people, but eventually the man you have to deal with is sitting right back there. And just looked up. I said, he's kind of militant, but he's the person that you'll have to deal with. And Kareniot was his soldier right at the side. I think I called Angel and told him that the mayor is going to be calling him and to be nice to him. I think I was a little nervous, but that partnership turned out to be fantastic. And I've got tears in my eyes now because I think of all the meetings that were had at the high school and how that developer worked so hard with Harry and with Angel to really make this, as Angel and Harry said, a good example of what can happen in planning. And whenever I hear anybody bad-mouthing any of the council that aren't go for any planning, I say, no, those people are for development. They're for good development, and Floyd, you're one of them. I also, the guys that we had to work with that were the developers were the best. And the lady from Hilo that was talking about the EV and the paper bags, she got that other development mixed up. You know, the one down further south that is now closed down. They took EV out, put them in paper bags, hid them places. That did not happen in Kohanaiki. Angel was right there. And even when a major site was found, the developer followed right in suit with Angel's request. And we were very proud of how that all came about. One thing I want to say, and Mr. Ruff mentioned about the road going on further to Jeep. I really feel that these parks are for everybody, and there's a lot of people that don't like to have a gas vehicle right next to where they are camping or at the beach or spending the quiet time with the boombox going and generators and stuff. And so I have no problem with that lower part of the beach being closed off to vehicles and giving the other part of the population that doesn't like to have a vehicle parked right at the beach a place to be too. I mean, this is a beach for everybody. And a lot of people like to have that closed offness sometimes at the beach, and four-wheel drive vehicle comes ripping past you. It kind of ruins everything. Also, my understanding is down at that end there are sites, there are historical sites, and Hale possibly, and other special places to protect. And as soon as you leave a place open and it's not monitored by vehicles, you get the unfortunately oddball person that thinks it's funny to run over historical areas. So I have no problem with that close off, and I think it's good to have a place for everybody. I really applaud everybody that's worked on this. Actually, sadly enough, this spot as well as the O'oma and the places down in Ka'u were what spurred the 2% to happen. And if 2% had been in place a little earlier, we would have had that whole piece of property protected. But at least it got us thinking when we went to the government and they said, no, we don't have any money for matching. That's when we had to start getting money put aside for special places like this. So I think for you guys, when you have a development coming along and you have good developers working, you know, you can see it. You know, you've been around the block, and this is now you know why this is so special for all of us that worked hard and long. When my husband died, the money from him went to Kohanaiki and for the canoe that Angel talked about. And so he and Mr. Sterling and Uncle were, their bodies were kind of dedicated to that. And there are people in the mainland that are really, really happy because they put money into a fund for a place they didn't even know to try to help protect it. And when I sent the information like this, it was like, even though they're on the mainland and have never seen the spot, they were like, okay, those people know what they're doing. So thank you for your future help with this area and for all the coastlines in West Island. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Sammy. Please go ahead, Shane.
Thanks. Hello, Kako.
Hello.
Madam Chair, council members. I'm here to provide some comment on Bill 85, which is on the Kuleana Act, Kuleana exemption. And I just wanted to make clear with the council that
It's 75, but.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Just for the record.
That there's there may be some legal ramifications regarding the striking out of some of the language, such as the zoned as residential or agriculture language, because taking a look at what the Supreme Court had ruled regarding allodial systems, I do agree with the whole process or what the intent is trying to say here in this area, where we're trying to assist with getting some people who have Kuleana lands, trying to get their exemptions completed. But I think we may be looking at some legal ramifications in that area. So I just want to make sure that when we're moving forward, that we're addressing that as well, because we don't want to make it harder for those that can qualify for the Kuleana exemption. I also wanted to point out another part was adding in the language for residential use shall not include vacation rental use. I think you might come up with some opposition regarding that area, but I think that I think this is the first reading, so as we move forward to the final readings, we may be able to come to a happy agreement regarding the sustainable living for Native Hawaiians on their own Kuleana land, especially in this modern time. Taking a look at bed and breakfasts, vacation rentals are all modern intricacies of Native Hawaiians participating at that level. If we are afraid of them building a resort, I can guarantee you on the Kuleana land, they're not going to be able to build a resort on the property. But just taking a look at that area as well, so that we can keep Native Hawaiians in that sustainable living area. That's all I have to comment on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Next I have Noelle Rodriguez and Josephine Tanimoto. Thank you. Go ahead.
I want to thank you folks so much. Every time I come to a hearing, I'm just so impressed with what you guys do. And deeply, deeply appreciate it, your work as our government. I'm here to say that I'm against the bus fare increase. I've always been an advocate for those who have less, and I think it's really important to look at the validity of staying exceptional as an island and in terms of legislation. This is true about, I basically would love to see the bus to be free, actually, and I definitely want Hawaii to stay GMO free. But there's something I think I want to share with you, because I'm a sociologist. I'm always looking at the forest. I'm never looking at the trees. And maybe I'm a little strange with that, but every once in a while, sociologists come out with insights that are valuable for policy. And 2 years ago, 2 British epidemiologists came out with a study of all the nations of the world, of the modern world, and tested it again on every state in the United States, and found out that on 13 different attributes of well-being, those states and those nations that are more equal, that have less poverty, are better off. And the ringer of this, the kicker, was that the most better off were, not the most better off, but definitely among the better off are the wealthy. That they're much better off, they live longer, they are happier, they're just in every way better off in nations that are more equal. And so that's one reason I'm very much for seeing the coming together of religious teachings of all the world and social science insights, and that is have compassion, care for the poor. Aloha.
law. Push the button, push that button on the bottom of the mic stand. There's a bar.
That one?
Is it lit up?
Hi. Yeah, now I hear me. Thanks. My name is Josephine Tanimoro. I go by Jojo, and I live out at Kauai High in Hawaiian Homeland. And I'm here because of 131. I am opposed to the scuba spearfishing ruling. And I wasn't quite clear how this thing that was written didn't seem correct to me. So I want to say right off, I'm opposed to scuba spearfishing. And one of the reasons is in Kauai High, we have a fishing koa right out front in Honokoa and Kaiopai Point. And we're right next to the Kauai High Harbor. And it's well known that we have illegal buoys out there that dive clubs, businesses have been using for years. But the association beneficiaries out there really don't have a problem with these people looking. The problem is going to come if DLNR allows scuba, because they will now be fishing in our fishing koa. It's a historical area. It should not happen. It's already for the community at large that use the Alakakai trails along the ocean front. They already come by. They're starting to come in more numbers because there's a lot of gated areas between King Kamehameha Hotel all the way out to the Kauai High Harbor. And there's less access to shoreline fishing. I mean, there's a lot of people that go to the beach, they can go swimming, they can go walking, ride their bikes. But when it comes to shoreline fishing, it's a little more scrutinized by the community out there. And so a lot of people have been coming to Kauai High in front of the homestead. And so I would be opposed. Now, I did not have time to know about this coming up, so I did not approach the association. Originally, the association is against scuba spearfishing from it when it was proposed earlier at the West Hawaii Fishery Council. So I can't share that information with you. But because I was not clear on what this was supposed to be, I wanted to be sure. Thank you, Margaret, for letting us know, so we can say that we are opposed to the scuba portion of spearfishing. Spearfishing is great, but not by scuba. Thank you. Oh, since I didn't read all of it, I just heard Bill 75 on Kuleana land. I think what Shane Nelson has to say, that should be considered, not considered, because exemption taxes for special cores and the definition of Kuleana is not what businesses should be looking for free. So personally, I would be against it because the definition does not go with what the person might be asking for businesses and making profit. Making profit, we should pay the property tax. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
There's one more testifier in Hilo.
Our last testifier is Larry Gehring. He'll be speaking on resolutions 108, 120, 128, and Bill 85.
Good afternoon, Council, and thank you for your time. Thank you, Larry Gehring, Hilo, and I want to thank all the testifiers also. You know, this is, I've said it before, but democracy in action is beautiful. Resolution 120-13 has the phone system proposed at a cost of $1,600 per month and has a possible 5-year lease. I'm wondering if this was put out to bid or if this is one of the good old boy system prerequisites. Should never have a, you know, you've heard me say this before, should never have a multi-year lease for anything. It only benefits the supplier. It makes their bottom line look good, makes it easier for them to do this, do that. But there's lack of accountability, a huge lack of accountability. 108-13, leasing of the office space for the county prosecuting attorney. There again, was this ever put out, are these ever put out to bid? Or do they solicit bids, or do they solicit office spaces? Or who goes to look at these offices? And over and above that, is there any vacant county office space available for these same attorneys? And as the rent goes up from year to year, what does the county receive in return? Hello? You know, they can jack it up, but if there's no accountability, who stands to answer those questions? Common sense negotiation, you know, it's either that or versus the good old boy network. We need more transparency, period. Resolution 108-13, I just did that one, I'm sorry. Resolution 128-13. More office space for the county attorney, and I'm not saying that they don't need office space, but I'm wondering why these are not put out to bid if they're not. There's a lot of people out there that could be interested. I used to lease office space. I never increased it from year to year. I just bit the bullet and let it go. Here again, multi-year contracts, they're only for the benefit of the supplier. Bill number 85, I'm glad you're considering taxing vehicles for road maintenance and transportation expenses instead of liquor and cigarettes and soda pop. That's the normal fall guys for their taxes. But anyhow, when are the streets going to be repaired in downtown Hilo, Mr. Warren Lee, Mr. No Priority List Warren Lee? This thing's been dragging on, what, 15, 20 years? No repair downtown Hilo. That's just beyond the disgrace. I'm going to push for a audit of the DPW because something's badly askew. When we can't, there's money in that fund, and we can't get the roads in downtown Hilo repaired. And I hope they don't put Mr. No Priority List Warren Lee in charge of the highway maintenance fund, because who knows where that one will go. I thank you for your time. Mahalo.
Thank you. Thank you. We just have two more testifiers here in Kona. So at this time, I'd like to call Lehua Kamaka and Josephine Kelly-Pio.
Aloha. Thank you for your folks' time today. Mahalo. It is a bittersweet day. It's both good and bad. And I'm going to start with Resolution 131-13, and I'm in support for a ban. I am totally against scuba spearfishing. To support or not, totally against it. I do volunteer work for Nature Conservancy, and we do a lot of data collecting on fish counts on the shorelines from Kukio on, where we're trying to reach as far as we can towards Kohanaiki. And counting our fishes, our native fishes in the oceans, and seeing what's happening in our oceans with all the invasive fishes that are eating our native fishes and their eggs. It has caused a lot of depletion. So with the spearfishing, scuba spearfishing, it doesn't help us to keep our native fishes counted or to have the amount that it should be. And as much as scuba spearfishing is doing to the ocean, they're doing a lot of commercial gathering in this matter. And so for it to replenish in the ocean, it's both hard for both ways, from the ocean, from the scuba spearfishing, and from the land, from development, because we need the buy in the kai. That's what brings balance to our reefs and what helps to restore and replenish our food resources that will help to replenish the reef, that will help to replenish the fishes. So I am not for that. I support the ban, and we do a lot of go-now checks, and we allow the scuba spearfishing, and they keep taking off the fishes that are in the spawning time. We're not keeping up that data of the balance of having our native fishes, which we can eat, versus our invasive species with fishes which we can't eat. So thank you, Margaret Willie, for bringing this forward. And Puako, I come from the family of Kaono that has come from that Ahupua'a. So thank you. I also am speaking on Resolution 129. That's a bittersweet for me because my kupunas come from that area, and they frequently lived life out there. And to hear about the wild donkeys or ghosts or whatever the animals that is always upon the land. Well, these are the animals that help transported our food resources from Mauka to Makai, Makai to Mauka. Seeing development today happening down at Kohanaiki Oceanside, I was just so confused about it because, of course, a good faith agreement is in my hands. And there's a situation that had occurred when they built the pool. There are restrictions that were placed by SHPD about the burial that was there, and there's always a buffer zone situation in that area. And for me, that's what's my part, is because when there's something that needs to be followed by SHPD, and it is not followed, which was not followed, that is a break. That is a breaking rule. That is a break in trust. And to find out that they just moved the barriers and just decided to build within it, that's heaven. And another disruption I have is, and I'm like, for the Jeep Trail, I don't think you should close it. My tutu Jacob Palakiko Kamaka, he used that Jeep Trail, and I'm, as a descendant, want to use that Jeep Trail. If you open it up to the, this is a Jeep Trail established as a Jeep Trail. If there's a oceanside development going on and more people are frequenting the area, then maybe that's oceanside's property, business to figure that out and keep more watch and do something about it. You can't just take this Jeep Trail away from us because it's our culture. It's my culture. It's what my grandpa used. It's what my great-grandpa used. This is part of our family as we grew up as kids to use this Jeep Trail. And I thank everyone for their speech about how long they've been here. But we've been here for generations. And today I'm not being heard, especially with what happened at one of our breaks, speaking with Mr. Pilago, and him telling me that, where were we? Where were your families? We didn't know nothing. We didn't get no mail, no nothing to our families. So I stand under due diligence. And to be also taught about the trail for 15 years, where was I? Did I ever help clean the trail? I've been on that trail before Kohanaiki Ohana started. I've done my part. And then just to be recognized within the 15 years, were we ever recognized before that? And we do it today still on our own because it's part of our kuleana. We don't need to be recognized. We don't need to have our names out there. We are doing it because it's our kuleana. And to be approached and told about that, that's not right. I am part of the Alakahakai Trail of yesterday, out at Kihola to Puako. And we have to get so many red tape just to go and do the trail when that's our kuleana. That's what's holding us up right now. We can't start the job because we have to go through red tape. But developers can be slide easily. Here, you can go and develop. Here, do this, do that, do this, do that. But for us to just do a trail, we're on hold. We were in a newspaper this morning, but we're on hold. So I just ask that things be done right. A lot of things are being brought up about Kohanaiki, Oceanside. Water is another issue. Things are leaking into the ocean. Water tests are not meeting its standards. So this is my comment, and thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Josephine.
I'm going to be really short. I just wanted to speak in opposition of Resolution 132-13 and in opposition of Bill 86 Draft 2. I really think times are hard for a lot of people out there, even though we don't see it. And I think raising the bus fares is really bad.
So I joined my friends, EK, Michael, and Tina and Puna, in opposing Bill 86. I really don't think those bus fares should be increased at this time. It's a very bad idea. And as far as Resolution 13213 goes, I also think it's a bad idea to go and raise salaries at this time when the taxpayers are going to have to foot the bill. And not all taxpayers can afford to foot bills like this, raising salaries. So I think it's a bad idea. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no other testifiers, we will take a lunch break and we'll resume this meeting at 2 o'clock. So thank you everybody and thank you for coming, and hope you can come back after lunch.
Oh, Grandpa was just about in a nappy time over here, man.
Me too.
Nodding. I usually do that at the movie theater.